Testing.
Everyone but the jury may be seated. Ms. Hand, please swear in the jury.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will truly listen to the case and render a true verdict and come to a fair verdict, a sentence to the defense?
I do.
Members of the jury, your duty today will be to determine whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty based on only facts and evidence provided in this case. The prosecution has the burden of proving the guilt of the defendant beyond a reasonable doubt. This burden remains on the prosecution through the trial. The prosecution must prove that a crime is committed and that the defendant is the person who committed the crime. However, if you are not satisfied of the defendant's guilt to that extent, then reasonable doubt exists and the defendant must be found not guilty. Ms. Hand, what is today's case?
Jury, you may be seated. Your Honor, today's case is the State of Oregon versus Cy Miles, the defendant. The defendant is accused by the grand jury of Chinook County of the crimes, Court 1, manslaughter in the first degree, and Court 2, disorderly conduct in the second degree.
Testing.
Is the prosecution ready?
We are ready.
Is the defense ready?
Yes.
You may proceed with your opening statements.
This is a case about a defendant who carelessly ended a life in revenge. May it please the court, my name is Susan Mowat. I will be giving the opening statements for the prosecution of the state of Oregon. And we are here today because on October 26, 2019, the defendant, Cy Miles, vengefully sabotaged their former band's concert, resulting in the death of Janet Jobson. The facts of this case are straightforward. After an argument between Miles and her band partner, resulting in Miles being dismissed from the band, Miles planned to sabotage the band's next concert. Miles was reported tampering with the special effects at the concert and the side exit hours before the concert, and during the concert, Miles made a Facebook post under the account Cynical Songwriter alluding to a bomb threat. As people saw this threat, the special effects at the concert wrongfully went off, and the crowd erupted into chaos. People scrambled out of the building, but one exit had been mysteriously jammed by a guitar string. This caused an unsafe stampede, which resulted in a fan, Janet Jobson, losing her life. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the prosecution will be calling 3 witnesses today to support our case that Cy Miles is responsible for what happened in 2019. First, we will call the former band member who will testify to seeing Miles hurriedly leaving the pyrotechnics at the concert, as well as lingering by the side exit. Then, we will call a music journalist who will testify to, again, seeing Cy Miles with a wrench messing with the pyrotechnics and alluding to the bomb threat and jammed exit. Through these witnesses, we will prove that Cy Miles jammed the side exit with their guitar string and tampered with the pyrotechnics, causing the stampede. Finally, we will call a deputy who will explain to you the search history and IP address from Cy Miles' phone. This will prove to you that the post was an intentional threat made by Cy Miles. Today, the defendant is being charged with first-degree manslaughter, defined as recklessly causing the death of another person, and second-degree disorderly conduct, defined as engaging in threatening behavior. We are here to prove to you that through their threat and other obstructions, Cy Miles caused the trampling and death of Janet Jobson. At the conclusion of this case, we will ask you to find the defendant guilty of both charges. That is all, Your Honor.
Your Honor and members of the jury, my name is Lucy Bagley, and I am representing Cy Miles in this case. Cy Miles had nothing to do with the incident that occurred on October 26th at the Digby Theater and had no harmful intentions. Janet Jobson was tragically killed on October 26th following a panic resulting from a Facebook post. This post was not written by Cy Miles, which is a fact the prosecution cannot factually deny. Our witnesses Cy Miles and Stevie Raven will show the lack of proof relating to the prosecution's case. Our witness, Ari Frankel, will show the danger anyone was in previous, danger in entering the Digby Theater previous to the accident. The prosecution has promised to prove many things, but assumptions are not facts. Please consider the doubt that will be left in your mind, which will evidently prove the innocence of my client, Cy Miles.
Prosecution, you may call your first witness.
The prosecution would like to call Marlo Hubbard to the stand.
Will the witness please stand to be sworn in by the bailiff?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
How do you know Cy Miles?
In the summer of 2017, I met Cy at a burger joint where we were from back-to-back gigs. After the shows, we talked over a couple burgers and decided to form a band called Destination Conflagration. Having been in the business for a while, I decided to write a contract there on a napkin, but I don't think she read it completely. We agreed that I would be in charge of being the band manager and Cy would be in charge of writing songs.
Did you know about Cy's prior conviction of arson?
No, I did not, and if I had, I wouldn't have ever invited her to join the band.
Before Cy left the band, did you ever fight or have complications?
We occasionally had arguments over things like adding a new keyboard player because she was very against changing anything about our sound as she would.
What happened after you opened for Sturgeon Sampson?
After we opened for Sturgeon Sampson, a record producer named Jessica Gallagher took us backstage and told us that her boss would be interested in the show. But she wanted us to have more pizzazz, as she put it, more pyrotechnics, more smoke, more exciting things to add to our sound to appeal to a larger audience. Cy was enraged by this, and she decided to leave the band at that point, yelling things like, "I won't let you make a mockery of the music that I've poured my heart and soul into." To which it was not a very kind split, but it was one nonetheless.
Describe what you were doing before the concert on October 26th.
During the concert on October 26th, I was camped out in the artist lounge most of the day, nervous for the upcoming big show. 2 hours before I went out to do the show, I had to do a sound check. When I went out on stage, I saw somebody hurriedly getting off the stage and going towards the side door. I recognized the face of Cy, but I largely ignored it because I didn't want another argument. While I was doing my sound check, I saw them lingering by the door and fiddling with something in their pockets, but I still ignored it and didn't wish for more arguments that would impact the show. So I just went back after I was finished.
Can you tell me why you lost the contract with Fourth Person Records?
The contract was lost because of the tragedy that happened, and it gave our band, Destination Conflagration, a bad name. And I think that it's going to greatly impact any chances that I or the band have for chances of being popular in the future or having fame.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Is it true that you performed a plagiarized song to your audience at the Cohen?
The song was not plagiarized, it was an artist's interpretation.
And the contract mentions Marlo and Cy get equal rights to the songs you guys write together, but you also say in your affidavit that Cy Miles wrote all of the songs. Is that true?
Cy Miles was mostly in charge of songwriting, and I was in charge of getting us gigs and shows and controlling our media.
And in your affidavit, you mentioned that it was your job to manage the equipment, yes?
Yes, it was.
So you would have had unmonitored access to the pyrotechnics before they went off so dramatically, and some people, including yourself, that have been involved.
In theory, yes, but I.
You say in your affidavit that you couldn't miss a chance at easy publicity, and this incident has sure gained you a lot of publicity, hasn't it?
No. It has damaged my chances of becoming more famous in the future.
Thank you.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your second witness.
Prosecution would like to call Joe Jones.
Will the witness please stand to be sworn in by the bailiff?
Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Prosecution would also like to submit evidence from Exhibit 3. How well do you know Cy Miles?
I met Cy a few years ago at the Coho Club, and when I saw Cy playing, I immediately was hooked. And when I found out that her and Marlo were building a band together, I helped them, and then I became the music journalist for them, and then later on me and Cy would tag each other in Facebook posts, and I would repost.
What did you see when you arrived 2 hours before the show?
I saw Cy messing with the pyrotechnics. Cy had a small wrench and a black box, which seemed to be like a drum kit. And when Cy saw me, Cy immediately rushed away and told me to check my messages. And when I did, was the bomb threat, and also told me that the side door was locked.
Once you checked your messages, as I told you to do, what did you see?
I saw the bomb threat in which Cy had told me to get people out of there quickly, and so I reposted it because I was tagged in it. And so I told people to get out of there safely and in orderly fashion.
Can you explain how Cy Miles could possibly be tied to Cynic the songwriter?
Cy always tagged me in Facebook posts, and I would repost them. And so when I was tagged by Cynic the songwriter, I had suspicions that it was Cy, and I did usually what I do when Cy tags me in Facebook posts and repost.
What did you intend to do? What did you intend to happen once you reposted the Facebook post?
My intent was to get people out of there safely and quickly, and
With your expertise in the music industry, what would be a legitimate reason why Cy Miles would be needed pyrotechnics 2 hours before the show?
well, I think a legitimate reason would be to check and make sure everything goes well, but as I know, Cy and Marlo had that falling out with Jessica Gallagher, and so I would just suspect that she's trying to go better and make sure everything runs smoothly for the show, but usually it's the lead guitarist that checks the pyrotechnics. questions, Your Honor.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
Would you say Marlo is as Sai described? No. Would you say you're more of a storyteller than a non-fiction writer? Kind of both, but probably more of a non-fiction. Alright. If Sai was ignoring you with seemingly no reason, when they started talking to you again, to tell you an alleged warning right before the concert, why would they do that? What would you think they would do? Probably to just make sure that no one got hurt, but in this case, someone ended up passing away. And so I think that was more of Sai's intentions. And I did try to reach out to Sai, so as she was ignoring me, and so that could have something to do with it, but also when I caught her messing with the pyrotechnics too, as well. How did you supposedly see Sai Miles messing with the pyrotechnics if it was actually Marlo who was a witness to be doing so in other testimonies? Because when I did truly see Sai Miles, Sai was acting very suspicious, and as soon as Sai saw me, Sai immediately rushed away and then told me to check my messages, which was the bomb threat, and told me to get people out of there quickly. And so I then reposted it because I was tagged in it by Cynical Songwriter, and I told people to get out of there safely and quickly and in an orderly fashion, as I was told to do so. Why were you more fame-focused during the disaster instead of focusing on the ongoing dangerous event? I wouldn't say I was more fame-focused. I think my main focus was to just get people out of there. But then it kind of, blew up more than I expected it.
The witness may step down. Prosecution, you may call your next witness.
Our next witness, which is Frankie Zapata.
Will the witness please stand to be sworn in by the board?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Prosecution would like to present Exhibit 4 and Exhibit 5 to the evidence stand. How long have you been analyzing digital devices?
I've been analyzing digital devices for criminal cases for around 3 years.
About how many devices have you analyzed?
I've analyzed hundreds of criminal suspect devices.
Your Honor, I now ask you to qualify Frankie Zapata as an expert in searching, a forensic analyst. Do you think Cynical Songwriter is Sai Miles?
I believe armed with all the data that I have gathered from my forensic analysis, and I believe that SciMile is the person who set up the Cynical Songwriter account due to the search history and the Facebook account and how it was created and what it was.
What did you discover on Sai's phone after you searched it?
I discovered many things on Sai's phone that seemed very suspicious. For instance, the browsing history. There were many searches. Sai or someone somewhat seemed to be repeating these browsing histories over and over days before the concert, like criminal penalties for threats, concerts gone wrong, and Home Depot. And she also had
What do you see on Sai's fingers afterwards?
what I saw on Sai's fingers were bruise marks that seemed fresh, and it looked like something had wrapped around it really tightly, like a string, in my opinion. And I asked her about it, and she said that it had been from a fishing lure a few days prior, but it seemed suspicious to me because it seemed fresh.
That's all you're on.
The witness may cross-examine, the defense may cross-examine the witness.
You mentioned a law of not being able to take a phone without a warrant. Have you had a history of following this law?
Yes, in 2017, I had a case where I confiscated and illegally searched through a suspected criminal's phone, and the judge suppressed the evidence and let the criminal go without a charge because of the way the phone was confiscated and searched through.
Is it true that because of your law break in 2017, you could no longer assist detectives and beat cops in the building anymore?
It is true. I was only allowed to analyze devices that were given to me with a warrant.
Now let's talk about how you talked about Sai solution of data on his phone. Is it true that you said it's possible that he deleted his Facebook data to clear storage?
Yes. The phone had about 16 gigabytes of data, and it was possible that Sai had deleted some the Facebook data to clear some extra storage space for the phone.
Okay. And is it true that you said you didn't need to look into Jet's other devices because you said you had all the evidence you needed to prove that Sai was guilty?
Yes, the browsing history on Sai's device didn't seem to have anything suspicious, and the Wi-Fi connection had not connected to anything, so I did not look further into just devices.
Okay. Is it true that in your affidavit you said that Jet didn't seem worried or fearful after the stampede?
Yes, she seemed agitated, but not in any way fearful or worried. And her, during the interview, when I interviewed her, she seemed very preoccupied with her phone, but didn't seem any way, shape or form worried or, yeah.
Also, you said that Jet's eyes would light up every time she got a notification. Is this true?
Yes, I thought it was a dopamine effect given by the phone, and she told me that she had to check the story and see how many posts and likes it got, and told me that it was important for the story.
Thank you. That is all.
The witness may step down. Does the defense have any more witnesses?
The prosecution has.
Defense, you may call your first witness.
The defense would like to call Cy Miles to stand.
Will the witness please stand to be sworn in by the bell?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
What is your name and background on your career?
My name is Cy Miles. I'm a singer, songwriter, and guitarist. I played with Marlo Hubbard in a band called Destination Conflagration for 3 years. I based our music off indie style, and my inspiration for it was Ingrid Michaelson. Unfortunately, I left the band due to conflicts with Marlo, and starting to pursue it.
I understand there were conflicts between you and Marlo. How did this contribute to your band splitting up?
Marlo felt as though we had to reinvent our image, and she wanted to add more pizzazz and pyrotechnics. She was the one who agreed to that, and I held my tongue for most of the time, and even though I disagreed, I felt as though we shouldn't add even more because she was switching our music from more of an indie style to synth-pop, which I didn't feel as though we should do. So I left, and after.
Have you been involved in any prior crime?
Me and my friends in high school played a prank on a rival school district or a school in retaliation to their prank a few weeks earlier. Unfortunately, the fireworks we had used backfired and put their auditorium on fire. Me and my friends got an arson conviction, but only a few weeks of community service. I felt really bad about what we did, and I was so young that I didn't fully understand my choices, and it was a bad choice. And I promised myself I would never do something like that again.
What were your actions on the day of October 26th?
I went to the sound check at the Digby Theater to talk with Marlo to try to clear things up, since I knew their band was playing at the Can You Dig It concert that night. When I walked in, though, I saw Marlo, and once she acknowledged me, she got up really fast, and I tried to have a conversation to clear things up, but she made it a little bit more heated than it had to be and told me to leave. So I did. I went out of row for a walk to clear my head from that conversation, and after a while, I chose to come back to try to settle things again in a calm fashion. When I came back, though, to the Digby, everything was in chaos, and Janet Jobson was dead.
What did you see Marlo doing at the Digby when you first arrived?
When I first arrived, I saw Marlo sitting next to the pyrotechnics box, which she agreed to getting, and she had tools in her hands, and there was smoke flowing out of the box. This is right before I started talking to her, so once she actually acknowledged me, she got up really fast and dropped everything she was doing.
Why did you go to the Digby in the afternoon?
Like I said, I was trying to settle things with Marlo, but it was mostly because I felt as though she shouldn't have used my music, even the ones I wrote during my time with the band, in the concert that night or any other time. I felt as though those songs were mine, and if she kept using them, I told her I was going to make it a legal issue. I didn't say anything about anything else, but I was wanting to settle it in a calm fashion with a lawyer. But then she said that I couldn't prove anything about those songs being mine, and told me to leave.
That was all your
The prosecution may cross-examine the witness.
When you were 18, did you receive a felony for arson involving explosives and an act of vengeance in a case similar to this one?
I used fireworks, and yes, they backfired.
When you exited the Digby Theater in the afternoon before the concert via the side door and the door was jammed, you did not report it, correct?
I did not report it, no.
In your affidavit, did you say that Marlo was not necessarily a very handy person on page 36 on 20?
No. Or, yes, sorry, yes.
Despite what you told Stevie, you went to Duckington to clear your head, correct?
Yes.
Is it true that you deleted Facebook mere minutes after the bomb threat was posted?
I felt as though getting rid of social media would be an easier way to clear my head, so yes, I did.
Is it true that you had the terms concerts gone wrong, Wing Depot, and criminal penalties for threats on your browser history?
Yes.
Defense, you may call your second witness. Will the witness please stand to be sworn in by the witness?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
What is your education background?
I attended Oregon State University and I got my master's degree in civil engineering.
What is your career background?
For a while, I worked for the city of Rowe as a building inspector, but then I switched to my own company called Inspection Perfection.
What type of buildings do you inspect?
Mainly like mid-century homes and some commercial buildings.
What did you find during your inspection of the theater?
I found that there was a blocked side exit with a guitar string and the door handle, a door lock, and there was no occupancy signs in the building, which is a violation of the Rowe Fire Code.
In your professional opinion, is the building a safe venue?
In my professional opinion, the building was not a safe venue because of what the building was used for. Technically complied with the fire code, but due to the purpose of the building, it was not safe.
What would have made it safe?
A third exit would have substantially prevented the tragedy that occurred on the 26th.
That is all your own.
The prosecution may cross-examine the witness.
As you already stated, but am I correct in saying that the Digby Theater did comply with the egress requirements of Rowe's Fire Code, and therefore didn't pose any significant safety risks in that regard that could have contributed to the tragedy on October 26th?
Technically, yes, but due to the purpose of the building, it did not, it would have been safe with 3 exits.
Even without 3 exits, the second exit of the theater had an industrial-sized double door with panic bars that provided easy escape. Is that correct?
Yes.
The second exit's door met all the requirements, specifically requirement number 2, which states that the door must automatically unlock as soon as a building alarm sounds. Am I correct?
Yes.
On October 26th, the Digby Theater's alarm did activate when the stampede started, but the door failed to unlock, right?
Yes.
The When investigating why the door and its reason for not unlocking, you found a twisted up guitar string jamming the mechanism for unlocking the door. Correct.
Yes.
In your professional opinion and with your experience in building safety, can you think of any reason someone might have to jam a door locked with a guitar string other than malicious intent?
I do not think of anything. No.
Thank you.
The witness may step down. The defense may call your next witness.
The defense would like to call CBA.
Will the witness please stand and be sworn in by the bailiff?
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Did you bump into anyone at the concert?
I bumped into Cy Miles as he was leaving the concert an hour and a half before Destination Classification was supposed to play. He claimed he was going to Duckington to meet a record producer to clear his mind.
Did you see anyone else at the theater?
After going back inside from the meeting with Cy, I bumped into Jet Jones as I was wrangling through the theater to get a better spot to see the concert. I decided to talk to Jet because we had a bad past about him rejecting my offer for becoming a journalist, and she showed me the post that is in Exhibit 3, and she claimed it was a bomb threat from Cy.
What happened after Jet showed you the bomb threat?
I immediately tried to get everyone out of the theater to protect everyone, to keep them safe, and get out of the theater as fast and safely as possible.
And how long does it take to exit the Digby Hill?
It takes around 5 to 10 minutes to exit the theater safely.
Yeah, that's all.
The prosecution may cross-examine the witness.
When you were at the theater, did you see Marla doing anything suspicious on the stage?
Yes.
When you first went up the stairs to the Digby, the stairs seemed empty, correct?
Correct.
Did they get busier as the night went on?
Yes.
Did Jet seem worried about her and others' safety because of the post?
No.
Did Cy seem at all stressed or mentally preoccupied?
A little.
Did you see Cy leaving at roughly 4:30?
Around 4:30, yes.
Do you personally know Cy or have any idea why she was at the theater beyond what she told you?
No, I'm just a fan.
Despite the fact that in Cy's affidavit she said she was going to Duckington to clear her head, she told you she was going to Duckington for a meeting with the record producer, correct?
Yes.
The witness may step down. Does the defense have any more witnesses to call? Both the prosecution and the defense have now rested their cases. The attorneys will now present their final arguments. Please remember, what the attorneys say is not evidence. However, do listen closely. They are intended to aid you in understanding the case. Prosecution, you may begin.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Joaquin Perez, and I will present the closing arguments for the prosecution. Members of the jury, today you have presented with the facts of this case, showing how Cy Miles vengefully sabotaged the concert in response and is responsible for the death of Janet Jobson. The defendant is being charged with first-degree manslaughter as well as second-degree disorderly conduct. The testimonies you have heard point to Miles being guilty on both charges. Miles wanted to get back at Marlo Hubbard for ruining her songs with special effects and wanted to stop Hubbard from performing her music without her. So Miles tampered with pyrotechnics and jammed one of the side doors of the historic Digby Theater with guitar string. She then left the theater and posted a bomb threat on Facebook to get people to leave the concert. She tagged Jet Jones knowing that Jet would repost it. The bomb threat, along with the now malfunctioning pyrotechnics, caused a stampede which ended in the death of Janet Jobson. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I would like to remind you of some key information in this case. 1. Cy Miles is a convicted arsonist. 2. Miles was seen twice tampering with the pyrotechnic side door at a concert that she wasn't supposed to be at. 3. Miles searched criminal penalties for threats and concert accidents just days before the tragedy. 4. Miles was inconsistent in her stories, and we encourage you to see why she would have lied in her testimony. 5. Miles has a clear motive wanting to ruin the concert before her music could be degraded by Marlo Hubbard. 6. Not only does all of the cynical songwriter account's information point to Miles, but the account knew that Miles wouldn't be at the concert. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the only people who knew that where Marlo and Ari Frankel had no reason to threaten the concert, and Cy Miles herself. The defense has argued that the building was already unsafe, but we have shown that the jammed exit that it was the jammed exit that truly made it a hazard. You have heard that Jet Jones is the one who caused the chaos, but evidence shows that she was only trying to get people out safely. We have proved today that what we have proved today is not an assumption but fact. We are asking you to find the defendant guilty. Thank you. That is all, Your Honor.
Defense, you may proceed with your closing argument.
Your Honor, members of the jury, today you've heard the tragic incident that led to the death and injury of Janet Jobson. I would like to remind you of a few important details before you decide the verdict of this case. First of all, Cy Miles' main motive, and only motive, for visiting the Digby Theater was to resolve the situations between Marlo peacefully without intensifying it. Secondly, Jet Jones was the one who interpreted and proliferated the panic from the post, along with showing total lack of concern for other people. And finally, the total lack of safety concern for the Digby, which already proves that it was already unsafe beforehand, and the guitar sting that may or may not have been Cy and also could have very likely been Marlo. Please find for the defendant for lack of certainty. Thank you.
Members of the jury, you have heard all of the testimony concerning this case. It is now up to you to determine the facts. You and you alone are the judges of the facts. Once you decide what facts of the evidence proves, you must then apply the law as I give it to you to the facts as you find them. In just a moment, the bailiff will take you to the jury room to consider your verdict. One of the first things you will want to do is select a foreperson that will preside over your deliberations the way that a chairperson does at a meeting. It will be the foreperson's duty to sign the verdict form when you have agreed on a verdict. Whatever verdict you render must be unanimous. That is, each and every person must agree on the same verdict. The bailiff will now escort you to the deliberation room.
All rise. You may follow me.
Mr. Will. Really in charge.
I know, I think kids were going.
Have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor.
What say you?
Start singing Celine Dion. We, the jury, find the defendant, Cy Miles, not guilty of all charges.